जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम 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 जय जय श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम Hari Om, Pranam, Pranam, Pranam to everybody. What is to be shared?
Swamiji, prepare us for Prayana Kale.
Prepare us for Prayana Kale.
Prayana Kale, Manasa Chalena. Okay, before we enter into Prayana Kale, we thought we should add one more to what we discussed yesterday. Individual. When we try to go through that mentally or reflect on that particular aspect of individuality, sense of individuality, none of us need belittle the importance of individuality. Because we did not ask for sense of individuality, God gave us. So we must try to realize that the sense of individuality is given to us by Him to work out His will through us, which fact we are not aware of. Because to work out His will in this Vyavaharic world, He has assigned to every one of us a particular role to perform. We have forgotten that. We were not aware of it. And we started acting based upon that. So the sense of individuality has been given to us. None of us need belittle or look down upon the sense of individuality. The only thing is we were not aware that it has been given to us to work out His will through us. So what is required is to know the source from which we derive the power to exist as individuals. And based upon that realization, we continue to function as individuals as long as he wills it. In that case, we will not find the sense of individuality as a roadblock for our spiritual progress. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, Swami.
Because when he was there, right from our seed level, when he gave us this BMI equipment, body, mind, intellect, when he provided us, facilitated us everything for our existence, we may tend to feel, no? Because that is normally that is the word we use. Ego sense is the roadblock. Because it makes us oblivious of, to make us unaware of his presence inside. So the mind may feel, but then suddenly we realize we did not ask for anything. Just like when from the seed level he gave us this BMI to develop in 9.5 months. Just like we started growing when we came out of the mother's womb. It is a process. So in that process he gave us the sense of individuality also. At some time, 15th year or 10th year or 20th year. But at the same time, he made us unaware of the fact that it was he who gave us. So the moment we become aware our source, we will try. And what is the indication? It will not be self-centered, no? It will be God-centered. That is why you all remember Papa used to say, think in terms of universal, not in terms of individual. Talk in terms of universal, not in terms of individual. Do in terms of universal, not in terms of individual. So the individuality has been given us to broaden, expand. Initially, he did not give us this idea. He made us to flow along with the growth. At some point, he gave us this. But we were not informed that we have come here to work out his will through us. That is important. Again, to make it more practical, whatever we do now, suppose we try to understand it is God's will that who made me a grihastha. It is God's will that who made me a professional. It is God's will that he made me a social being. Then everything is okay, no? No taboo for any of this field. And we function. Yesterday, as we said, we draw the power from the power of attorney God has given us. We are always conscious of the power given to us. So this also has to be thought about. There in our mind. Because that will take so many things off from our head. Otherwise we may be thinking it's an obsession. Why did you give me this? If it is going to be a roadblock, why should you give me a reason? It is a roadblock because we are not aware that he has given us the sense of individuality to work out his will through us. So we try to realize that the sense of individuality is given to us by him to work out his will through us, which fact we were not aware of. So what is required is to know the source from which we derive the power to exist as individuals, and based upon that realization, we continue to function as individuals. In that case, we will not find the sense of individuality as a roadblock for our spiritual progress. This is what Bhagavan Ramakrishna Paramahamsa termed it as Pakka ego. At the moment we have got Kacha ego. So now it becomes very clear. This discussion, this reflection will help us from today itself, to know, oh, we are working out His will, we are working out His will, we are working out His will. Apparently it is an individual who is getting involved. Seemingly it is an individual who is getting involved. But heart of heart we know it is His will, it is His will. That is why Papa used to say, when Papa was asked, without planning, how can we carry on? And he said, until we hand over completely, you can plan and put a comma subject to His will. When somebody asks Papa, even for so many things, we have to do a little bit planning. Without planning, we cannot move out. So then Papa said, nothing wrong in it. But only don't say, you add this, subject to His will, subject to His will, subject to His will. That means in each and everything we are consciously trying to make us aware that it is His will that is prevailing. It was a wonderful topic. Now coming to Prayana Kaleja, this is also a very thought-provoking topic. First of all, we try to accept or recognize that there is a Prayana Kaleja in our life, which normally we don't encourage our mind to dwell upon it, because we shun the very word death. So the moment we think as spiritual aspirants, it is always better to remember this. Because our Shastra says that though God gave us this seed, our BMI is shaped according to our previous karma. The raw materials are the 5 elements. Panchendriya Mahabhudam Sambhavam Karma Sanchitam Shariram Sugadukhanam Bhoga Ayatanam. So because of the karmic wrangle, we have got this BMI. And we know now nothing is permanent here. Nothing is eternal here. So when we try to see the transient nature, during many of our critical times, we used to feel that enough is enough, When we get over the problem, enough is not enough. We will again pursue the same path. So when a stage comes, there is a slogan we often remember, This is full of misery. So when we reach that stage, Lord Krishna says, when we come to realize that this world is full of transient nature, it cannot give me any eternal joy, eternal happiness, then I will say, I don't want this. I don't want to get into this. It comes from his heart, not a technical, what do you call, academic knowledge. When he repeated the word Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, every word we should understand. No? Why are we, in spite of that again, no? We get into so many things because it is only an academic knowledge that is there in us. Mamupetya punarjanmam dukkhalayam ashashvatam. You got that Bhagavad Gita here? 8. No, I got. Mamupetya punarjanmam dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvandi mahatmanam samsiddhim paramam gataha. Reaching the highest perfection and having attained me, the great souled ones are no more subject to rebirth in the world, which is the home of pain and is ephemeral. This is very important. Until we see the reality, this realization will not come to us. We try to postpone the problem, whether it is affecting the health. We rush up, what do? We are trying to postpone our date of death, It is all right. But even while trying to postpone our date of death, we should know death is inevitable, So when we talk about Prayana Kalecha, if all these dimensions are taking place in us, then at the time of leaving, it is all right, we try to postpone as much as possible this and that. Okay. But actually when the question of death comes in our mind, we will try to direct it to the positive side, not to the negative side. For this, we have to keep on thinking during our lifetime. It doesn't mean that we become indifferent. We handle everything. At the same time, we know that we have to quit. In the nothing is permanent, In the Bhujanga Shetty's book, remember, the maid servant comes, she will work, but evening she has to...
Actors all day long.
Huh?
We are actors all day long. We are actors all day long.
wake-up call. We are actors. Actors. All day long. A maid comes every day to sweep and clean our house. She works sincerely and is totally dedicated. But while doing her work, she is conscious that it is not her real home. In the evening, she returns home where she really belongs. This is the type of awareness we must have while attending to our daily duties. We don't really belong here, and at the end of the day, we will return to our original self. From morning to night, all of us play different roles at different times of the day. In the morning at home, some of us are a loving father or a husband. Later, we become the commanding boss in our office. In the evening with friends, we laugh and joke like children. If we were to observe closely, we would find that we change our behavior and our makeup to suit our different roles. A maid comes every day to sweep and clean our place. She works sincerely and is totally dedicated. But while doing her work, she is conscious that it is not her real home. In the evening, she returns home where she really belongs. This is the type of awareness we must have while attending to our daily duties. We don't really belong here, and at the end of the day, we will return to our original self. Some of us never like to remove the makeup after some of our roles. Some love it so much that they take it for real and never projected their real self. We all along hide behind a mask till we totally forget who we really are. At every stage of the day, we should be aware of the role that we are playing and the real us behind it. Never forgetting that we are merely playing a role just as the others are playing their roles in life's drama. After the scene is over, all of us become equal. I was once witnessing a scene being shot for a movie wherein the hero kicks and beats up the villain. After the scene got over, I was surprised to see the hero walk up to the villain and touch his feet, asking for forgiveness, as the person playing the villain was an elderly, respectable person. So also in real life, we may not physically touch and feed and say sorry to the people we have hurt, but we can mentally say sorry and ask for forgiveness. This is what to be done every day just before going to bed. Ask for forgiveness mentally from all the people we might have hurt while playing our role, and forgive those who have hurt us while playing their roles. This way we become fully aware of the real relationship with others and that all are one and equal. So Prayanakaleja, when it is said, at the time of my leaving, if I don't now fine-tune my mind on these lines, just like the maid, we also work in a company, and we come back after retirement or any profession. When we retire, we no longer identify it in the same way as we were when we were working. That means we are aware a day of retirement is to come. So similarly, a day will come to all of us when we have to quit. So through Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan is reminding us we should start thinking about it. Vinobaji puts it more bluntly. Every time we should become aware of it, so that we won't get attached. We have seen even our attachment to the person, no? It gets diluted as days go by. However noble or mighty that person might be. We may have reverence. But when the person is not there, when the person drops the body, watch ourselves what is happening in us. So why not we think about it very deeply? Even if we think the limitation may not go, but still we can try to bring it down. So during our life sphere, when we know that he has assigned us a new job and we are performing it, as soon as the assignment is over, he will definitely press the button. Papa's usual very thought-provoking quotation is there, no? When the stage manager says your time is up, you have to just go, get up and go, that's all. You cannot list out, I have got this unfulfilled, unfinished agenda, please allow me to do that. No. He used to quote Shakespeare's word, everybody has entrance and exits. These are all nice to read, but do we reflect upon it? If we reflect upon it, even if somebody close to us departs, we may feel definitely a shock. But in the shortest possible time, we know, yes, what has to be happened has happened, that's all. Initially, a jerk will be there. Because we have not been given a stony heart. We have got a heart which has got feelings, so nothing wrong in it. But at the same time, in the shortest possible time, we will be able to pull us back and realize the reality. Everybody has a day. The stage manager has called him. We don't know when he will call us. And what are the tangible gains when we keep on thinking about it? Many people may think it will demotivate our enthusiasm or what you call creativity. No, it will not plug. Even on the day of our retirement or resignation, on the last day also we will be performing the duties, is it not? The boss will ask us to do something. We all remember. From tomorrow onwards I am not going to come back, but still, that day till 5 o'clock in that morning and evening, till that day is over, we will be conscientious in our duties. And in many cases we have found, especially in government office, the government will make use of their services later on also. They will be assigned, suppose he is such a person who stands out from the rest. The government will definitely try to put him there and get the benefit out of it. But for that person, retirement day is a retirement day. So if we are conscious about the retirement day on the Vyavaharic plane, why not we think about the retirement day from our real life drama? So during our lifetime, if we also bring this into our mind, never we will get demotivated, never we will become insensitive, but we will be knowing that the day is not far off when I have to quit the world. So do everything perfectly. That is why people write out will, because they are conscious. They are conscious that a day will come when they will not be there, and they don't want the people to fight for anything. So that is why how it has to be appropriated. Whatever wealth you have, they leave a will. If there is no will, there will be litigation. No? So when I prepare a will, I will know that all the claimants, whatever they have to get, they will get. At the same time, there is an admission, implied, tacit declaration that I know that I will quit. So even in the Vyavaharic plane, it is better to know this. Anybody who has got any wealth, movable or immovable, it is better to leave a will. Since we are not aware when the Chinmayanandaji used to say that death is waiting at every corner, ready to pounce upon us. So every time we should be conscious of this. And that is why in Bhagavad Gita, in one more sloka, he says, Antakaleja mameva smaran mukta kalaivaram. If I must remember, mameva, if he remembers me only, then he will come to me. Doubtless. So if we don't train now, will we remember him at that time? So 2-3 things are emerging now. First is that when we say Prayana Kaleja, we try to keep on tutoring our mind that there is a day when we have to quit. There is a day when we have to quit. There is a day when we have to quit. So we will be involving in action based upon this as the undercurrent. That will relieve me from getting attached to anything, identifying too much with anything. And freeing myself from the clutches of grumblings and complaints and malice. Dvesh bhav. Because only when we are alive, all this have got relevance, I am right, you are wrong, I am superior. I want to assert that mine is accepted by all. So like that, all these things are there relevant only so long as I am alive. So when I know that I am not going to be permanently here, there will be some fine-tuning on my part. This is only, one more quotation is there, Papas. It is like a dharamshala. When people come and stay for some time, they come from different areas. They stay for some time and they go back. Dharamshala is there. On those days it's called Dharamshala. Now we can say hotels. Nobody lives there permanently. People come there from different places for different purposes. And then afterwards, they go back. So if we try to bring all these in our mind, at least to some extent probably we may be able to accept the transient nature, ephemeral nature of what all we are handling. We will not be completely free, agreed. But some impact will be there. Not identifying too much. We have to identify to some extent. But too much identification will not be there, and there will be an undercurrent that this is ephemeral, not eternal. Somewhere from the mind, corner of the mind, this will keep on coming. And one chapter is exclusively for that in Bhagavad Gita. When you say in the 8th chapter, Akshara Brahma Yoga, there he says, Vinobaji clearly says that. The 8th chapter puts forward a thesis that the thought uppermost in our mind at the time of death prevails over others in the next birth. When we start our journey, we carry some provisions with us to sustain us on our journey. The thought uppermost in mind at the time of death, which is the essence of what has been earned in this life, is the provision with which we start our journey in the next life, next birth. We begin a new day with the previous day's gains in hand. Death is like a long sleep, after which we begin a new life with the gains of the previous birth. End of this life is the beginning of the next one. Hence, one must always be aware of the inevitability of death while conducting oneself in this life. This is necessary also to enable us to face the dread of death and find ways and means to counter it. It makes the presence of the death when someone dear to us passes away. But still man does not think of death fearlessly and summon courage to overcome its challenge. And when death finally comes, man begins to take stock of what he has on balance at the end of his life. A dull and lazy student in the examination hall just looks here and there and whiles away his time. Dear chap, is Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, going to come down from heaven to write answers for you? He keeps the answer book blank and at the most scribbles a few lines, submits it when the time is up. Our condition is no different. But keeping in mind that life ultimately ends in death, we must constantly practice throughout our life the means by which we can make the last moment pure, sacred, and happy. From this very moment, we should be concerned with having the best of the samskaras. But who cares? On the contrary, we are constantly training ourselves in bad ways. We are constantly teaching our sense organs to behave in a perverse and wayward fashion. Mind must be trained in a different way. It should be led to what is good, should be encouraged to get absorbed in it. So for a spiritual aspirant, constant remembrance of this is necessary. That is why, though Bhagavad Gita is addressed to the man on the field, the Lord gives so much of importance to draw his attention on this salient aspect, very important aspect of becoming aware of the day of our departure from this world. Many people say if you calculate pleasure and pain in the society, pain and sorrow predominate and not joy or pleasure. Joy and pleasure are there, but what predominates is sorrow. A young man or woman cannot understand after 70 or 80, when he looks or she looks back, he or she can ask that question, what was the nature of my life? Was it all joy or sorrow, or more of joy and more of sorrow? Thinkers have done it. So this is not pessimism or optimism. What is the truth about life? The truth is what you find mentioned in the Gita here as Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. The whole world is pressing upon you. You are trying to resist it, to be yourself. So joy comes, sorrow comes, suffering comes, tension comes, all sorts of problems come. All these put together is what we repeat in our society as samsara or tapatraya. There is a majority of suffering, less of pleasure and comfort. Yet it is worth living. That also comes in our teaching. It is worth living because, as Vedanta puts it, through pleasure and pain, we can achieve our spiritual evolution. Sometimes pain will help you better than pleasure in spiritual evolution. So Vedanta teaches all to take life as it is. Life is a combination of pleasure and pain. Whether one is more or the other is more is just a theoretical question. We are passing through life which involves both pleasure and pain. Don't get stuck up in either of them. That is Vedantic teaching. Squeeze both of them, get knowledge out of them. Experience alone can give you knowledge. Without the experience of pain, you can't understand the world and sympathize with humanity. Unless you have starved a little, you can't understand that 300 millions of our people are half starving all the time. You can't have sympathy, you can't have understanding. So utilize occasions of pain and pleasure to achieve knowledge and compassion. So Mamupetya Punarjanmam. Once you realize me, no more will you be in this uncertain world of pleasure and pain. In this world of birth and death. Such a person is called a Mahatma. God himself is declared to be a Mahatma in one of the Upanishads. This person also has achieved that infinite expansion of self-awareness. Samsiddhim paramam gataha. He or she has achieved supreme perfection in this very life. That is the language of these words. So when Papa prompted to dwell upon this Prayana Galeja, all these thoughts, Vinobaji has elaborately mentioned in Talks on Gita. So yesterday's topic was about the individual, and today he revealed to us that we don't have to belittle upon this. He has given us this assignment to work out his will. And as soon as that is over, he will call us back, which is called death. But if we don't really square up all our desires, cravings and whatnot, this journey will keep on coming and going. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Shankaracharya in Bhagavad Gita, he says, again birth, again death, again getting into the mother's womb.
Bhajagovindam.
Huh?
Bhajagovinda.
Ah.
Govindam.
Huh?
She said Bhajagovindam.
Bhajagovindam, that's what Bhajagovindam. What did you say?
I heard it wrong. Bhajagovindam.
Bhajagovindam only you said. Bhajagovindam. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jadare shayanam, iha samsare bahudustare kripaya pare pahimurare. This samsara is difficult. Please help me to. You lost your connection.
It will come now.
It will come now.
It has come.
So all these we have to keep on thinking. Bhajagovindam is also a wonderful text. You can hear now?
No, we can't, Swamiji.
We can hear now, Swamiji.
Okay, very good, very good. Bhajagovindam is also a wonderful text because there he narrates the transient nature of so many things and our attitude towards it. We live Jadilo Mundi, Lunjida Gesha, Kashayambara Bahugruta Vesha, Pashyannapi Jadi Pashyati Mudohi, Udara Nimittam Bahugruta Vesham. So there are so many slogas where when we go through not to learn the slogas, not to reproduce the slogas, but to educate us, the transient nature and our fickle mindedness to keep on getting attached to various and subjects. That is why, the first stanza itself, he says, when the time of death comes, this knowledge will not help. Dugrinja karane. Samprapte sannihite kale nagi rakshati. This will not help you. All these academic knowledge, theoretical knowledge, intellectual knowledge will not help you. Because this sannihite kala, it will come, When I have got a date of birth, there should be a date of death. I will not have a date of birth only when I pass on this date of birth. I will not have date of death when I don't have a date of birth.
Swamiji, we will be going back to our source.
Huh?
What, Auntie?
Yes, sir. We will be going back to our source.
Correct.
Then why should we feel unhappy about it?
No. We have to go back to our own
Why
source.
should we be unhappy about going back to the source?
We should not be. At the moment we feel, Mataji used to say, we are reluctant to enter into the eternal mansion of Papa because what we have been hugging as me and mine, that I will lose, that's what I believe. That is why we don't feel the joy of going back to our real home. We thought, this is our real home. Though we know the date of death will become, about which we are not sure, but we have to leave. Because everybody has left. Great-grandfather, 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 grandfather, and probably to many as father. So that means, we will also quit. That is why you remember Haridas Giri Maharaj, when he was talking, how we should chant the name. This point. However much we translate into English, it will lose its flavor. But still we have translated for the sake of, because it is so nice, Haridas Giri Maharaj. Where did I keep it? I don't know. Yenonu Jalapadli. He says, there he brings it out.
சுவாமிஜி,
ஆ
நாரதர் மூல உலகம் சுத்தி வராரு. அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம சோல்ஸ் எல்லாம் அதுக்கப்புறம் போனப்புறம் என்ன ஆகுது?
என்னது?
Narada is going round and round.
Narada
After we pass
all
off,
the
where do we
people.
go round?
After departure our souls, what is the nature of it?
அதுதான் இப்போ சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கு. If we have unfulfilled desires and vasanas, naturally we have to get into another yoni and perform as an individual, and we forgot that we have brought this, we try to accumulate some more. Naturally this goes on. Only when we are freed from the clutches of all these vasanas, vasana kshaya, then only we will become one with him. Until such time we will always be in this evam pravartitam chakram.
So the papa punya effect will be there.
So we are now trying to raise ourselves. He is now trying to bring this into our picture. Not merely the date of death we are thinking. We have to settle our accounts. We don't want to carry anything. We should be free from all our cravings, infatuations, fixed notions, prejudices, attachments. So internally we try to practice all these things until the day comes when we are called back. That is to remind us, that is why he is prompting us to make a mention when somebody passes away, and we give in memoriam in the vision. What do we write? So and so was called by Papa, so and so was called by God, the Creator. So to remind us that if we are free from desires, vasanas and all these, if we have settled our account fully here, we become one with him. Otherwise again this chakra goes on. According to our Shastras and the Mahatmas, this has been really revealed to us.
What is our credit and what is our balance?
We have to settle all our accounts. So the liabilities are that these, I have to do this, I have to do that, unfulfilled desires, and my prejudices, my all negative tendencies. Achha. Then if we develop positive, that I want to do more and more good to the country, so and so, forgetting that God has given me this assignment, then again I have to work it out. But when I become neutral, that is why symbolically, when we go to Shabarimala, we have got Irumudikattu, they say. There will be two bundles. That is what we carry. So in one of the songs they have mentioned, Punya Papa Chugadumai. We are both placing it before the Lord. So Punya and Papa both are bondages, no doubt. So all these things will be clear so long as I feel I am the actor, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the sufferer. But the moment I come to realize that He has sent us here to work out His will, then I am free from all. People may praise me, people may criticize me. That is because from their standpoint of view I have not risen up. Or from their standpoint of view I have not risen up. So all these things come. But I become always neutral. My account is always tallied. So that is why in Bhagavad Gita, when he talks about the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and he specifically said, Rajas and Tamas are to be totally got over. And Sattva will also become a roadblock. Because the moment you become aware that you have got sattvic qualities, it will become counterproductive. Vinobaji puts it in a flowery language. you should wound him. Sattva should be wounded, while Rajas and Tamas are to be eliminated. Because we should not be...
How can we wound it, Swamiji?
Okay, how to wound it? How to wound it?
Always thinking that God has given you this opportunity so that the pride will not come, which is the truth. God gave us this equipment, God provided the field, God gave us the primordial intelligence, and then why should I take credit? He makes somebody to come at my doorstep and to say that I have not had many food for the past 2 days. Immediately, he prompts from within to go to the langar, to the kitchen, and brings whatever is available and give to him, and he immediately takes a couple of morsels of food. And because he has not taken for 2 days, he looks at you with a heart full of gratitude. You also get a thrill out of it. Somebody looking at this comes and congratulates and tells me how compassionate you are. Immediately we should know God provided. He could have gone to somebody's house in order that to teach me that He is there in the heart, in our heart, in the form of compassion. He provided this opportunity for me by prompting him to come to my house, and at the same time, God saw to it that there is something there in the kitchen, and God saw to it that the feeling wells up in our mind to do it. Otherwise, you say, what can we do at this time if you come, nothing can be done, Or give them some 1 rupee or 2 rupees and go away, So suddenly you realize God gave us this. So you will not take the credit. So that is what he has sarcastically said, wound the sattvic. Because sattvic also will become a roadblock the moment you become aware of the sattvic. Because we know now that the compassion wells up not because we become aware of the compassion. It is spontaneous in nature. When it is not a product of a thought, it does not come from the individual. Spontaneity, that is the first quality. So you immediately pass it on to him. So we now as spiritual aspirants should train this now. Even if somebody congratulates, we will not accept it mentally. We need not tell that openly. But we will not accept it. Normally we react, as Papa's devotees, Papa did it, we say that. But whether we mean it or not, only that individual will know. Because heart of heart, everybody feels happy when we are patted on our back, when we are congratulated, when we are acknowledged, when we are recognized. So Mahatmas don't, that is why they don't on their face congratulate or express appreciation on their face. Because why, it becomes counterproductive. But you can see them acknowledging it in so many ways. That is why you feel the love for him. So what we have been trying is, when we at the time of our leaving the death, if all these thoughts well up in our mind, to some extent we will be able to detach ourselves and prepare ourselves for our journey. Even if we are not in a position to settle our accounts fully, we may be able to settle our accounts to the maximum extent possible. So to constantly think about this. We don't have to discuss it with others, but we have to constantly, each one has to constantly think about this. The inevitability of death. It helps in our spiritual progress.
Swamiji, if a person dies in deep sleep, he will have no attachment, isn't it, Swamiji? Deep sleep, if a person passes away, I think he has such a chance to moksha.
We need not think about anything else. We say, no, he has assigned us a role. So we are coming here to work out his will. We misunderstood that we are working out our will. And just because I am not responsible for my birth, I can't be responsible for my death. Because the me and mine was not there at the time of my birth, the so-called my birth. Think.
Rebirth is inevitable.
Rebirth is inevitable according to our Shastras. According to our Shastras, rebirth is inevitable until we settle our accounts fully. Cravings, infatuations, attachments, aversions, preferences, priorities. That means our life should be purely on the basis of spontaneity. No prefix, no suffix. Yes, somebody wanted to say.
Account yaarkitta settle pandrathu? Account yaarkitta settle pandrathu?
What, uncle?
Account yaarkitta settle pandrathu?
Account yaarkitta settle pandrathu?
Account
yaarkitta settle pandrathu?
We know, we know our accounts.
Swamijiyoda padala podu.
He's telling Swamijiyoda padala podu.
Everyone knows their accounts fully. Even when we leave our room, we can check up whether we keep it locked or come here. Any moment we can die, death can come.
Yes.
Not that everybody should leave their room unlocked. You can keep the room unlocked provided even if something goes, you are not upset. So right from that you start thinking, my possessions and mine, unknowingly or knowingly, I am bound by it. So unless and until I free myself from the bondage, through this body or another body, I have to keep on coming and going.
Swamiji, good and bad is a relative term. So all our actions are good, correct?
All our actions are good.
Good and bad is relative term.
Everybody will go to good only.
If you, it is right, but provided you feel it is God's will that you are working.
Yes, sure.
Then there is no good and bad.
Swamiji.
So long as we are doing the thing that we are the doers, there is good and bad.
Yes.
The moment you think you are working out His will, there is no good and bad. Just like a judge. Yes, Kalama.
அப்போ நம்ம டிசைர்ஸ் அண்ட் அட்டாச்மெண்ட்ஸ் இல்லாம ஆக்குன்னு நம்ம வேண்டிக்கணும், ப்ரே பண்ணிக்கணும்.
ஆமாம். அது எப்போ போகும்? எல்லாம் பகவான் தான் பண்றாருங்கிறது நம்ம மனசுல வந்துட்டு இருக்கிறது. ஆமாம்.
சுவாமிஜி.
So to bring in that dimension is our struggle. That is why today he made us to think about our prayana kaleja. Whenever that thought comes, we postpone, We don't want to engage ourselves in that thought. Fearing that will demotivate us. So let us give, we will be dynamic till our last moment. We will be dynamic. At the same time, we will be trying to settle our accounts, so that the carrying over figure will not be there. Brought forward figure, sorry.
So remembrance
Remembrance.
Yes, Swamiji.
Huh?
Is there anybody who doesn't have a rebirth?
All Mahatmas. So, because the sense of individuality or encased in body is not there, nobody comes and says, but people who have realized and transcended that higher stage, they have come to vouchsafe this, Yeah, it's possible. They have no other. But now when you see such Mahatmas who are established in that, nothing else is there. They exist, that's all. Nothing else. You ask something, they tell you. You offer something, if they feel like accepting, they accept. Otherwise, no. They don't ask anything. Tomorrow, more about this we can... yes?
Yes, Swamiji.
Dynamic till our death.
We are dynamic till our death.
But in some cases, return for months together, or even years together, they want to die but not yet.
Correct.
Liver stopped, not kidney or stopped, other functioning. They have been placed to die. Why is that? Because between the death and what is expected of the leader, there is a crucial period. How to work?
No, you are right. It's a valid point. But we should know that we are working out our karma, previous karma. So during our active life, suppose we keep on thinking about it, God forbid, even if we are bedridden, we might be able to revel on that thought. Because we have seen in many cases, though at times the desperate state comes, most of the time they will be able to be tranquil. Because they have done this elaborate study, detached themselves from this, knowing that a day will come when we have to go. But bodily sufferings are there, but at the same time, most of their time they will be reveling in that. If we don't prepare our mind, naturally we will be again accumulating so many things during that. Grumblings, complaints, so many things.
So the bedridden is unavoidable. Bedridden for this is unavoidable.
Unavoidable. Not
Bedridden, not everybody, no.
How to live is there. How to die
How-
is also
How to die is not in our hands.
yes.
How to die is not, because that is also willed by him.
We should live in a better manner. All
But it is only time, isn't it? மரணத்தின் காலம் நேரம், மறுபடி பிறத்தல் சாதல், கரணத்தின் சுத்தி புத்தி, கனிவுறும் பக்தி சித்தி, நரணது வாழ்வில் தோன்றும் நான் அதன் மூலம் என்னை சரணடைவார்கள் காண்பார் சத்தியம் என்றான் கண்ணன்.
Sure. So yes, somebody is asking from here. So we were answering. So whether we are bedridden or the instant death comes, all of them we have been told that it is all working out our prarabdha. So if we are now privileged as spiritual aspirants, we have been blessed by our Guru to think about all these things during our active life. So that will give us the cushioning that even if we are to go through any such things, to a very great extent, we have also seen the life of certain evolved souls, even though apparently they were bedridden or immobile, we could find that most of the time they were able to keep up the tranquility. Even Puja Swamiji, 4.5 years he became immobile.
Yes. Hari Om.
But even during that time, there were moments of acute pain, frustrated feeling, but that will be for a short time. By and large, throughout this period, he had the same tranquility. Even he will not ask food or water or medicine. Somebody who is attending, they have to give them, that's all. Even with the last moment we remember, when the dialysis failed, when the doctor when the doctor said he is to be put on dialysis, he called us and said, why should I subject myself to dialysis? What is going to be there? After all, let it come early. Then, if Swamiji is firm on that, okay, we have no objection. But when another devotee came and told him, he plainly asked us, what will happen if I don't go in for dialysis? Then we said, we have to see you suffering. And that will make devotees restless. Suppose the dialysis is given, it will give him some relief. Then, however, we said it is subject to Swamiji. Because suffering is done by him. We can only share other things. Suffering nobody can share. And we are looking at it from our standpoint, not from the patient's standpoint. So we told bluntly, if Swamiji feels not necessary, not necessary. Then some devotee went and told him, please agree, please agree, please agree. Then he said, okay, we will go. Then we took him to Mangalore. And when at the last, on a Friday, when the nephrologist finally declared that dialysis cannot also go on from here onwards. So he was brought back here. Everything was clear now. And only for one more day he survived. But even at that time, I did not feel anything from his face or from his words. So these are all proven facts, That means they must have done all these manana when they were quite healthy. We are now thinking only about during that time. That mind will not come. So during our time, that is why now Papa is facilitating us to think about all these things. Why this discussion today? So the discussion is that during our healthy period, if we try to entertain all these thoughts in us, it will have its own positive effect. Even if he makes us to pass through or subject us to pass through certain things which we have acquired from our karma. So a lot of thinking is necessary, Nothing is a final answer. So he will facilitate us to get more and more, 100%. Hari Om. So tomorrow we will continue. It's a wonderful subject.
Thank you.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Yeah. Okay. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Pranam.
He wants you to continue tomorrow, same topic.
Tomorrow.